Happy Monday, everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and the important moment that we're seeing in crypto right now. I'll also give a brief touch onto the stock market itself, and I do want to talk about the bond market, especially where U.S. Treasuries are concerned. We really want to pay attention to that as well. Bitcoin, though, I think it's really stealing the show right now with some of the technicals that we have coming. We're still looking for that volume confirmation. I'll show you that on the chart. And I also want to highlight XRP as well, because that is coming up also to a critical moment. I think that you're going to find these technicals highly interesting. And if you guys want to see more of my technicals, my trades, my analyses, you guys can see more of what I have to offer, along with the other panel experts and what they're posting and trading over at our joint Discord. You can find it, thousands of members over there, a highly positive community, all there helping to support each other in the pursuit of financial freedom. We got the bread bot over there, which can tell you when stocks, cryptos are about to make those big moves up or down. You can trade accordingly. You have the community there for support. You have AI tools, also advanced charting features. You name it, there's something there for you in that Discord. The link's down in the description. Make sure you click on that. Use the earner tier so you get unrestricted access to everything the Discord has to offer. I'll tell you guys more about coursework later, how you can really work on investing in yourself. So the first chart that I have for you is Bitcoin making a move up above the 50 EMA, which is huge for us because before that we were selling, we just kept on getting rejected off of it, but then we kept on squeezing up the prices off the 13 period EMA, and more importantly, we have the 5 about to cross the 50, and that's a good move to see. If we get the 13, this yellow line right here to cross the red 50, that's absolutely enormous for watching some near-term price action take place. So for Bitcoin, we could be seeing that moment where we start to make that push, where we start to see a return closer to 100,000. We do have some things to watch out for, such as around 91, 92,000 is where we keep on finding this massive support in here before, which is now massive resistance for us. Now, if I put my lines back up here, you can actually see what takes place in the range that we're looking for. So a few things I want to point out to you. Let me draw it to the center of the chart and we'll really stretch it out, get you a nice clean view. Right here, starting at about 90,000, just under it, about 89,645 up to about 92,000, including this white ray that you see right here going across your screen. That resistance that we're looking for from about 89.6 up to about 92,000 per BTC, that is the resistance area that we want to pay attention to, that if we do happen to move up further to the upside, that could be where that potential rejection comes in. We want to pay attention to that. There we go. And I'm grabbing the rectangle tool here for you. We'll click on that, drag it across. There you go. That's the resistance area that we're looking for. We do want volume support to come in. So far, we don't have it, but the day's still young, my friends. We'll see if we get it. Moving up above the 50 EMA is a good move to see. Now, where does that put us in terms of the simple moving averages? Well, let me put those up there for you. We are getting close to that 200-day, which is currently at 88,224. That could be near-term resistance for us. We have the blue 20 starting to inflect upward towards this pink 50 period simple moving average. Getting that cross would be a golden cross for us. The even bigger one would be getting the 50 to turn around and cross up over the 200. So watch for a rejection near 89,000, 88,224 is what it is. And then we have a resistance area right up above it. If we're able to approach that with strong momentum, that could be a good move for us. For Bitcoin here in the near term, we could be seeing that movement up. And it is something to say that with the market, if we just touch on the indices right now, in the pre-market right now, we're down well over 1% at the moment, more like 1.5 to 1.75% for the Qs. When we go to the SPY, what are we looking at? Down a little over 1% for that. And IWM tracking the Russell 2000 stocks, down just a smidge from the close. Actually not so bad right now. And if we take a look at the 10-year Treasury yields, right now what are we looking at? A consolidation pattern taking place right now with that. We took a big bounce off a pretty critical support. We want to watch that actually break down. We would like to see the 10-year yield drop. I think that would be good for both the stock and the bond market. Now, mind you, bond yields are going to move inverse to bond prices always. However, the bond prices don't always move inverse to the stock prices, but I do think some relief in the bond market with those bond prices going up, the bond yields going down, I think would give also further relief to the stock market. So that's something that we want to watch for potentially for bullishness. Now, I did say that I would touch on XRP, but real quick, I just want to stop at the chart on gold. This is the monthly chart that we're looking at on gold, and this is something that I posted over at the Discord this morning, was these support and resistance areas. This is a monthly chart that we're looking at right now. I'll stretch it out for you so it's nice and clean on your screens, and you guys can see if I go down to the daily chart from there. There we go. look at what we have for support and resistance right now that we just on Thursday came down, retested the floor. Now we're looking for that ceiling, which happens to be around $3,500 per ounce for gold. So we do want to watch for that to see where exactly we could go for there. So these are the gold spot prices that we have, and we start to run into some pretty massive resistance, not only around 35,000, but up above that. I'm sorry, not 35,000, 3,500, but also around 3,700 up from there. So the monthly RSI being as high as it is, we're overbought on the monthly in a big way. Like I said, highest since January of 1980. And then on a weekly basis, we're also significantly overbought, but although not the highest. And then when we look at the Treasury yields as well, because we don't see that demand happening for the US dollar, well, when gold trades against the US dollar, you have those gold prices go up. So we do want to see further demand come in, further strength for the US Treasuries, especially those long-term Treasuries. And as those yields go up, it does make them more attractive, unless, of course, there's something larger and more systemic that could be falling apart for the US dollar, which wouldn't be good for any part of the world. So we do want to pay attention to that, but I think it is why we're seeing some of the Bitcoin strength today, why we're definitely why we're seeing some of that gold strength. Now into XRP itself. By the way, for XRP, we are right up against this white line. Pay attention to that one right now. That is the resistance that we're seeing. Now, if I take down my lines on here, mind you, that big red area is the area of resistance that we're fighting. The big number to pay attention to is about $2.20 per XRP token. And now let me take down those, because what you might see right here around 220 would be a neckline for what shaping up to what could be an inverse head and shoulders. And the RSI, by the way, is at 49.61 on a daily basis. When we go out to the weekly period chart, we're up above 50, which is bullish. When we go out to monthly, we're down out of overbought territory. So we had that cooling period for the XRP token, and now potentially we're catching that next catalyst, well, or that next big moment from a technical standpoint. Now this blue line curving down this way, look how beautifully those prices are just curving around that 20 period moving average. So we are down near the mean. As long as we hold that 20, we got a shot at taking on the 50, which is just north of that, right around 221. So 220 is that number to break. 221 is the 50 period, and right now the 50 is over the 200. That's bullish. The 20 is down below the 50. That's near-term bearish, but with some maybe some potential momentum coming our way that's going to start pushing those prices higher. We do want to watch for that for the XRP token. So where do we find ourselves now, and where can we potentially go from here? Well, if we keep on seeing weakness with the US dollar, that could be good for gold prices against the US dollar, of course, but also Bitcoin is showing that that near-term strength. Now, mind you, if there's no conviction in the current movement, that's something that we could start to see another drop coming for Bitcoin's prices. But if we do get that volume support for Bitcoin, that could potentially be very good and very bullish for that catalyst for it. And then that rising tide could lift all the ships, including at the XRP token, which right now is kind of setting up to make a decent movement for us. So hopefully it does, because I'd really like to see that $3 plus XRP come back. We peaked at about $3.40 the last time, and well, I think we have that potential to push to new all-time highs. I don't know that now's that moment, but we definitely do want to watch for Bitcoin for that big signal for the rest of the crypto market, for the altcoins to also follow suit. So for Bitcoin, for XRP, we could be getting our fingers crossed that we have that critical moment coming up. For gold prices, like I said, with the monthly RSI being at the highest it's been since 1980, and also the U.S. Treasury yields being up, and also the demand for the U.S. dollar, if we look at the U.S. dollar index DXY going down, that's something that could also be at a moment where U.S. Treasuries start to become attractive enough that we start to see that buying come into place. Now, what could be a catalyst for that? That could be some sort of settlement with the trade war between the U.S. and China, that things start to kind of cool off there, and some deals start to get made, and we start to see Trump start to come back further to center, China come back to center, and really start negotiating on both sides of things. I think that would be good overall for pretty much every market where we're starting to see that that stress happening. Now, mind you, that might mean some settling for gold prices as U.S. dollar strength comes back, as they do tend to move inverse of one another. So right now, we're definitely in that sort of risk-off territory, especially where the U.S. dollar is concerned. And I will say, you know, I didn't give an update on Dollar Tree, but if you guys didn't watch my video from Friday on Dollar Tree, make sure that you check that out. moving up towards the top of that resistance area. If it can break over it, we could still have a significant upside moving on that one, about 17% more from where it currently resides. But guys, like I said, if you want to see more of my technicals, more of my analyses, if you want to see my buys and sells, you guys can find it over at the Discord. Like I said, I got it, me, other panel experts over there. There's a whole bunch of us all putting out our analyses, all putting out our trades, all putting out our technicals, and just go ahead, check it out. Use the earner tier when you do. Links in the description for that one. Like I said, thousands of members already part of that community, absolutely loving everything that they find over there and what it has to offer. And you should also check out the link for Stockmo Academy down in the description. You get access to learning how to do technicals yourself, learning how to use the bread recipe for trading. Doesn't tell you what to buy or sell, but you can figure out when those big moves are coming, and then you could trade accordingly based on that. And if you really want to consider some serious opportunities for alpha, there's also the options course as well. I trade options very often. As a matter of fact, it's predominantly what I do, and I use that to add to my long-term positions to my overall portfolio. So guys, you can learn all about that using the link in the description for Stockmo Academy. If you bundle the courses, you save a ton, and if you also use code word DOCTOR anytime for any of those courses or bundle that you sign up for, it's going to save you a ton more. And why not invest in yourself in that pursuit towards financial freedom? And when you join the Discord, we can also help support you in that as well. Otherwise, guys, I'll see you back here at YouTube. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. See you next video.